everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 13 Pro Max and see how this particular phone holds up in 2024. Now, a few things to keep in mind. This phone clearly isn't the most, premium, most, newest phone that Apple's ever made, but it's still a very good phone that came out a couple of years ago back in 2021, and I still think this is a phone worth talking about, and I still think it's a very interesting phone that does hold up very well against phones like the 15 Pro Max and probably even the 16 Pro Max when that comes out later this year. So, if you want to pick up some phones I would recommend buying this year though, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, this particular phone is turning about 3 years old this year, which is insane because I still remember when this phone came out. It feels like it was just yesterday, to be honest. God, I'm getting old. The thing with the 13 Pro Max is on the front, you're getting that 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now, this particular phone panel, I still think it looks very good. It's such a solid panel for sure. Like, I'm still a humongous fan of the way this phone looks. You're getting that ProMotion 120Hz display on here, and really no matter what I've done with this phone, it's held up very, very well. You're getting basically the same type and size display as you're getting on something like the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So that right there is one big thing to keep in mind, but you're also basically getting the same type of display as you're getting on even the 14 Pro Max. So that's not really that big of a difference. Like, you're getting very similar type of build and very similar type of experience with that display on this phone as you are getting on those other phones. So that right there is a big thing to keep in mind. And the fact that the only thing that this phone kind of has going for it that's a negative is the notch. Other than the notch though, this is still a very, very good phone that I still think looks very good in this day and age. So definitely on the front side, the iPhone 13 Pro Max gets a thumbs up from me without a doubt. Now, moving on to some other sides of this phone, you can see that the side of this phone is flat. This is a very good thing going on for this phone because a majority of the current modern phones have these flat sides to them, and with this phone it's basically no different. It still looks great. I'm still a massive fan of the way this phone looks from that side, and it's a reflective material too on the side, so it's like another big advantage for this type of device, which looks pretty good. Now, you're getting the lightning port at the bottom, which may be the only downside for this particular phone as of this point. So the thing with the lightning port is that a majority of people have now gone away from lightning. It's kind of been the way Apple's been kind of approaching it for the last couple of years. We knew it was rumored. The iPhone 15's finally brought it. So now every single iPhone from now is going to be bringing USB-C, which I think is fine. Like, I'm totally cool with that. But the problem with that is that some of these older iPhones seem more outdated because of the lightning port. So I still think lightning is fine. Probably for the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to be perfectly okay. But do keep in mind that if you're somebody who is prone to feeling bad or feeling like left out or whatever, then you're definitely going to probably feel like that at some point with this particular phone. Not right now, but maybe at some point. So keep that in mind, but regardless, that's totally okay. And on the back side, you're getting this frosted glass back, which still looks and feels very good. This is still a very premium feeling phone. You're getting that MagSafe charger in the backside as well. Triple camera setup with a LiDAR sensor in the top left of this phone. And without a doubt, I am a massive fan of the way this particular phone holds up from the outside perspective, especially when you consider how premium this thing is. It has IP certification, wireless charging, all the common stuff you see on a lot of iPhones nowadays and a lot of phones in general. But this is without a doubt one of my most favorite iPhones of all time, mostly because of the way this phone's going to hold up so well for the next 5 years. With phones, with ProMotion, there's not even that many iPhones that have ProMotion displays right now. There's only 3 generations, and this is one of them. So that right there gets a thumbs up for me without a doubt. Now, in terms of the camera side of things, this iPhone's camera is also very solid still. You're getting that triple camera setup on the outside. You're getting a 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, and then that 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Now, the thing I like a lot about this particular camera is that it's very solid, so I don't really have too much to complain about from that side of things. But also that 12 megapixel wide angle camera on the front, like, you're still getting things like 4K at 60 on the front and the back of this particular phone, which is a massive feature. And that, like I said before, there's not really a lot to complain about for this particular phone from that perspective. Like, this camera can really do everything you'd probably ever want to do and have from a camera. You're still getting, portrait mode and cinematic mode, so many things across the board, which is so nice. So this right there is a big feature, in and of itself that I'm a massive fan of. Again, it's not perfect. It's not like the perfect camera, but even when I compared it against the 15 Pros and all that, like, it's not like that big of a difference. Like, for the average person and even beyond the average person, like, if you're wanting a really good camera on an iPhone, this is still a very good option. For the remainder of 2024, this is an iPhone that I could see myself recommending to people, especially if you're somebody who wants a big iPhone. This is a very good option, especially for those who want a big iPhone with, a cheaper budget. This is a no-brainer in my opinion. So definitely gets a thumbs up from me there. In terms of the software side of things, this particular phone has a little bit of a different experience. So I do think this iPhone still has a very good software, side of things. The only disadvantage of this particular iPhone is that, this iPhone's not going to last forever, and we're already pretty much in its third year of software updates. This is where Apple starts kind of changing some things up here and there, and they will start limiting versions of features that some iPhones get. So usually when an iPhone is like 2 generations old, it's still matching in line, but usually when it gets like to the third year, that's when Apple starts changing things, and now this iPhone is probably going to experience its last main full iOS version of updates before Apple limits it next year. The iPhone 12 was the cutoff point last year for a lot of iOS features, all the iPhone 12s, the 12 Pro Max included. So this makes me think that the 13 Pro Max is probably going to also be included in this particular lineup. So that's just basically what's going to happen here as well. So it's a sad thing. We've seen this happen so many different times from so many different products. We're just, again, going to have to kind of wait and see what happens here. But as far as I can tell, that's probably what's going to end up happening, is that Apple, once again, is going to limit the amount of features that this iPhone's going to be getting. Again, it's not a big deal or anything, but as far as I can tell, that's essentially what's going to happen here. So that kind of covers it up there. Now from the performance side of things, this is another interesting aspect about this phone. So the iPhone 13 Pro Max has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now the thing to keep in mind about this particular phone is that you are basically getting, basically the same amount of RAM that you're getting on some other iPhones. So you're getting the same amount of RAM on the iPhone 14s, the 14 Pro Max I believe as well. But now that the 15 Pro Maxes have 8 gigabytes of RAM, I will tell you the 13 Pro Max may feel a little bit slower outdated here and there, but that's such a reach. I'm going to be honest, the 13 Pro Max phone still feels very, very fast. I was using my 13 Pro, which basically is the same exact phone as this thing in terms of like a performance perspective, and I was using that phone every day, and I never felt like that was an outdated or slow phone. I still felt like the iPhone 13 Pro Max was a very, very fast phone that I was using, and that was something I loved about that particular device. I will tell you, from my perspective, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a very, very fast phone, but the 13 Pro Max is still a very fast, very good phone that I have very few things to complain about. I really don't think you can go wrong with this phone, especially from a performance side. So that right there gets another thumbs up from me. I think the performance of this iPhone is great, and I think the battery life of this iPhone is very, very good as well. Like, you genuinely cannot go wrong with these types of phones, and that's something that, when I look back, the 13 Pro Max is easily one of my most favorite phones because of that particular perspective. So to kind of round it out, what I will definitely tell you is the iPhone 13 Pro Max is a very, very good phone that I would recommend just about everybody to, basically go ahead and buy. I think this is an iPhone that you can basically purchase today and still have around for many more years to come, and you can't really go wrong with it, right? You can't really go wrong with a phone like this. And I probably will tell you from that perspective, it is a beautiful phone that has a ton of capability and a ton of quality, and I would recommend buying it for pretty much every single person watching this video. If you want to go for the 14 Pro Max or 15 Pro Max, go for it. But I think the 13 Pro Max is a very solid option. I'd recommend every single person buying. So that kind of covers it out there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.